Mic on. Alright, Kings of War players, this is a battle report between the Order of the Green Lady versus Ratkin, and this is a Call to Arms Season 4, Round 3.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
Okay, welcome back. So in this game, I'm actually fighting against the infamous Steve Hildrew of Death by Dragons and Countercharge fame. And interestingly, it is this period of time where he chose to run a new list against me. So let's see how it turns out. So these are our lists. So firstly, mine is Order of the Green Lady, and I think I'm quite settled on this list for most of the tournament. I run this in round 2 and round 3. It is unchanged. And for my opponent, he ran Nightmare spam, Nightmare Regiment spam. So with some warriors and brute enforcers to spread enough rallying to go around, and he does have a Tangle to have that Fury Aura and Mother Kryza to have the Cloak of Death. So let's see how things go. In this scenario, it's actually a kill scenario, so you win based on win or lose, it's based on the kill points, and then on secondary scoring for the tournament, you get 5 points for kill points and 5 points for the scenario. So the sort of the scenario, meaning this is pillage tokens. Alright, so I didn't take the deployment shot, so this is the top of one shot. I chose the sides, and I also chose to go first. So I just pushed everything up, and my opponent's strategy was to turtle in the corner, right? So on hindsight, he did realize that he chose the wrong corner to castle up. Okay, because there's this forest in the way, so everything is gonna get hindered here and there. But I am Order of the Green Lady, so I have a lot of Pathfinder, while he doesn't have a lot of Pathfinder, right? And then the hill is also presenting a situation now, especially when I go first, so he can't hide behind the hill. And the moment he touched the hill, all my things can see. Alright, but I do have Beasts of Natures and the Order of the Forsaken that can see over hills as well. So if he had deployed on the other side, he could make use of the blocking terrain to sort of block some charges, so on and so forth. And of course, there is this fence in front. That means unless I have Strider, this thing will hinder my charges. So my opponent unpacked and moved up. Notice how he angled a lot of his nightmares in all sorts of different angles. So this is to try to maximize, if I charge this unit, I'll get flanked by that unit. If I charge that unit, I'll get flanked by this unit. So it's trying to see and protect each other, right? And he did pop the plague pots on the 2 hordes, but however, his 2 regiments, he did not pop the plague pots. I guess he thought that firstly, it's not as far forward as the rest of his army of the 2 hordes, and secondly, it is in terrain, so he thought that the terrain might be able to protect him. So instead, when that happened, I decided to go, I think it's at this point, top of 2, I already decided to go pretty much all in, and I charged pretty much everything in. Right, so let's rewind that. I think only the earth elementals are out of range anyway. Okay, so for let's see, the Beast of Nature got a flank on these warriors, and then the Pegasus went in front. Okay, the Order of the Redemption went in hindered, but at crushing 2, right? So then the water elementals charged in, I think, and so that my guys could fight over. I think I double charged, and then this one went this way, something like that. Let's just take a look at what happened. Okay, so you can see the center part is taken out. So yeah, I charged these 2 units in, hoping to take it out, but only a waver. But waver is good enough, because that means he can't fight, and his rally aura is all the way here with the Tangle, which is this spiky thing over here. Okay, and this water elementals is to stop it from being able to charge the things on the side. Okay, the Pegasus didn't have a good target to charge, so I think I held it back to prepare to use it, sacrifice it to hold off a future wave. Yeah, the man-at-arms wasn't in charge range. I think it moved up to be in charge range of the warriors next turn. Okay, over on the right side, so I double charged the warrior horde, and then I sort of blocked off the two sides, right, from other things charging in. So my unicorn with Blade of Slashing went in, charging into this nightmares, pretty lucky, dealing 3 damage. And so this part is automatically blocked because my Beast of Nature got a flank on the warrior, so that's why it's like next to the tangle. So all he could do is to turn and face the tangle. Okay, but that also means he's going to get flanked actually from 2 sides, because this Nightmare Regiment over here, and then this Mother Kryza could just see the edge of it. So let's see his response. So let's look from left to right. So left, the wavered unit would just sit there, and then this warrior's counter attacked for 5 damage. Okay, he double charged into the Order of the Redemption, but because it's hindered, right, so it took very little damage. Probably some luck involved as well. So now then he charged the Beast of Nature from these 2 sides. Okay, so 2 flanks, right? And dealt 9 damage and a waver. These let's see what happens here. The warriors probably counterattacked with Bane Chant onto the Order of the Forsaken and wavered it. And then I think there's some shooting that goes into the Water Elemental Regiment. Okay, so let's see. My response, let's rewind that a little bit. So with this, Knight's probably able to take out that unit on its own. The Beast of Nature is free to fly off, so I was hoping that I flew up the Beast of Nature and the Pegasus into it to take it out. Okay, so unfortunately I did not take it out. And then now I double charged the warriors, still not killing it yet because my men-at-arms were hindered by the field. But the Green Knights did take out the regiment in front. Okay, the Redemption Knights countercharged one of the Nightmares, while the Earth Elementals charged the other one. They are both wavered, but with the Tangle nearby, he could just move over to provide Fury Aura, rather. Okay, the Beast of Nature just stood there. The Pegasus charged the rear of this unit that just flank charged the Beast of Nature, but I only dealt 3 damage. Okay, and I think I probably got the headstrong roll, so I double charged the warriors again and killed them off, and then I pushed the water elementals up to hopefully prevent these Forsaken Knights from dying, right? And then my unicorn over here with Blade of Slashing did another 3 wounds, and now it wavered this unit. So because this is at the corner of the map, he has a lot of difficulty maneuvering units to charge this unit, right? So he couldn't charge 2 units in front because he couldn't slide because they hit the edge of the map. And so it's providing a lot of nuisance at this corner over here, especially now that I wavered his unit. So his response, let's look from left to right. So the Nightmares over here took out the wounded Beasts of Nature. The Beast of Nature was wounded from shooting because Nightmares do have that breath attack, right? And then it angled itself. So this unit here is pretty interesting. It angled itself in this way that my Green Knights are in the front, but I can't fit in the front because of the spacing issues, right? So I couldn't charge this unit, and I think I couldn't charge this unit. Maybe I could, but I don't think I want to anyway, right? And then let's see. So this part just hit back at the water elementals. This part, so you can see the tangle moved over so that it provided the fury aura on these 2 units, and it punched again. Okay, but not dealing a lot of damage. Now this is the interesting part. So he turned around, he countercharged at the Pegasus to kill it off, right? Understandable, which means he only had Mother Kryza to charge at the Beast of Nature, and this time it is what do you call this? It is front charge, and he actually didn't do any damage because this 1 damage was from Cloak of Death. right? So then he charged the Brute Enforcer to ground the Forsaken Knights. Okay, and then another regiment to take this to deal some damage to the Water Elemental Regiment. And the Wavered Nightmares couldn't do anything. So let's see from left to right. So let me rewind a little bit and check. Okay, so this Pegasus on its own wavered the unit, and this Green Knights being unable to charge anything just repositions itself. The two units, the two hordes finally took out the Warrior Horde. Okay, the Order of Redemption took out the Regiment of Nightmares, and then the Earth Elementals took out the other Regiment of Nightmares. Okay, and then with this Beast of Nature free to fly, is able to charge the flank of this unit and only got Waver. So it's still alive, and this time I think I'm probably gonna go down. The Forsaken Knights charged the Brute Enforcer and wavered it, and then this unit dealt a little bit of damage, and the Unicorn, after 3 charges, took out 1 regiment on its own. So next. Is this the same picture? Let me check. No, it's not the same picture. Okay. So wavered unit couldn't do anything. These 2 units charge in. Okay, and I think I'm not sure if I could have positioned these Green Knights better, but now it doesn't have much things to charge at, right? So he's trying to send wave after wave, but his lines are really thinning by this point of time. So, oh, this is pretty unlucky of him that he's attacked the Beast of Nature and only a waver. So this is probably rolled a 4 or less to only get a waver result. Mother Kryza and the Brute Enforcer double punching at the Forsaken Horde. Doesn't look like it got wavered as well. So some pretty unlucky nerf rolls over there. And this unit positioned itself to probably get ready to charge one of the units over here. So this was when most of the things went down, right? A lot of the units went down. So the Unicorn charged at this unit over here. Let's rewind and see the injured Brute Enforcer to take it out, while the Forsaken Knight charged at Mother Kryza, I think. Or I charged the Brute Enforcer too, because what I did with my Earth Elementals was to surge into the flank of Mother Kryza, and that took it out. And let's rewind and see if there's any other units. So the Beast of Nature took out that unit, but it is dying soon. So next round he did take out the Beast of Nature and the Forsaken Knights, who are already heavily wounded at this point. But he's also running pretty low on units. Oh, he also charged into the Unicorn. I think I positioned my Unicorn such that he have to kill the Unicorn to overrun into the Forsaken Knight. So if he doesn't kill the Unicorn, my Forsaken Knights might survive, right? But he did kill the Unicorn and did overrun into the Forsaken Knights and kill them off. So top of 6, possibly my last turn, so I'm starting to grab the objective. So I only grab this objective over here and this objective over here. If you notice, this picture is just one section of the entire 6x4 map. It's just that top right hand corner. You can only see 4 of the tokens over here. And yeah, I did not start to send my cheap units like the Pegasus to start claiming the objectives earlier, because I really want to make sure that I have all my pieces available for combat. If I stuck one unit back, it might end up it might be the one crucial piece, that Pegasus, that I need to block the Nightmares from charging my flank for 1 round. So I decided I did not hold back any of my forces to hold objectives, because this is secondary, right? Kill is the primary objective. So I just wanted to make sure to win the primary objective. Sometimes you try for the secondary objectives but end up losing the primary objectives. That would be pretty silly. So my Pegasus was only here. I was hoping if there's turn 7, at least I could claim 1 more objective. So this is the bottom of 6. I think nothing fantastic happen. He's just posturing himself for turn 7. And there was no turn 7. So this is my dead pile. This over here is my dead pile, right? And I took out 2,000 points of the opponent out of 2,300. And if you look at the units that are dead, right? A lot of times my Beast of Nature will eventually go down because their damage sticks. And then the Forsaken Horde also, the damage sticks. But if you notice that my Redemption Knights, they took damage throughout the game, but they're now at full health. The Water Elementals also took damage throughout the game, but they're now only took 4 damage, right? So this sustain does really come in very handy. So let's look at learning points. So especially for my list, I would like to use my hammers to take out the first wave while the Flying Chaff blocks out the second wave from charging in. Okay, so what you can do to mitigate that is to try to make sure there's no frontage, no space for my flyers to land. But because the Nightmares are such longish units, as he pivots here and there, it's very hard to block off the entire frontage. So in tight spaces, you can use other units or even blocking terrain to block charges. So like what my opponent did, he positioned his Nightmare regiment in front of my knights, but I couldn't charge it because of the angles and where my knights have to fit in. So my opponent has much more drops and units more than me. I'm not sure if it's a better idea to spread out so that so if you have a center unit, so let's say you have waves, right? So you position like this. So when I charge in and kill this unit, now I'm in risk of getting charged by 2 units. And if the units are positioned like this, it also means that I must eat a flank from one of them. So if you space out more, something like this, right? So whenever I charge this, I might get flanked by one of these 2. And similarly, when I charge this, I might get flanked by one of these 2. So if you can spread out like a very spread out checkerboard that forces the opponent to not be able to face all the enemies in the front, then that would be a very effective use of having more units than your opponent. But at the same time, my force is also very fast, so that probably affected the opponent's deployment a lot, that he wants to sort of castle up to protect. So regeneration is very good for sustaining the long game. Not just regeneration, if there's drain life in your army and what's this called, life leech, they are very good as well. And Iron Resolve to some extent, but right, Iron Resolve only heals 1, right? Life leech usually heals 1, but there are units that have life leech 2, and you can also increase Iron Resolve and life leech through the items. So these are things that really help the sustain of the game, especially when it's not a one decisive punch, not your units are not taken out in one shot. So all this healing stuff do come in very handy. So anti-wavering tech is also pretty good, because if you're wavered sometimes, not only does your wavered unit not get to attack, but it blocks your unit behind from attacking as well. So that is very, very devastating sometimes. So if that is very devastating for some of your units, you might want to consider, of course, units that are fearless, or you can have the Staying Stone or the Headstrong item or the Fury item to help with this situation. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this battle report. If you enjoyed it, press like, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications for more.